White Spark. It'll give you a list of all the citations you have out there in the world, and you can track them down one by one. I test maximum 3, between 1 and 3 really big fucking ideas that I have, and that's it. The more you remove yourself, you can then suddenly impact more people because you have leverage. What is up, my brothers and sisters? Oh my god, you guys are working on some cool shit. I actually am behind on all my emails and shit like that. We just kind of had a cool little family weekend, and I don't know, man. You guys are sending me cool shit. It's like I love seeing the changes and the progress and the leaps forward you guys make in understanding people and building your business. And just can't say enough. 2 quick announcements before we get rocking and rolling. Thing number 1 is this is just I'm thinking about. This is not official, but I'm thinking about actually putting something together. What would be a small little intimate live event at my actual house here in Mexico. It would be super affordable. And for those of you guys who would want to come here and hang and work on some stuff in person, if that sounds like that would be cool to you, what I would love to know is like what's one thing we could get done, one sort of problem we could solve together that would be super useful for you and make it a no-brainer. As I said, again, I know usually I charge a lot of stuff on the high end, but I would love to just work with you guys a little bit in person. So this would be, like I said, super affordable, probably less than $500. Secondly is, as I mentioned last week, we have opened up 10 spots this year in the mastermind. I think they're about half full, maybe 4 or 5, something like that. But I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun working with you guys. I wish I had more capacity to actually do more with you guys, but there's the constraints of 3 children, and I have a real estate business we started up as well as I have my own agency, so that's a pretty full plate for me. But I don't know, having a few more of you guys just enriches my life, and I love seeing the changes and the upgrades you guys make. Like, I never get tired of the thank you messages and things like that. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I put together a new video that shows what we're working on in 2023. You can also actually just go to beyondagencyprofits.com/Wolfpack. There's a video. You can just watch it on your own. You don't necessarily have to wait for me to send you anything if you're interested in that. Other than that, let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. I got my main man Cole on the mic. Excited to see y'all motherfuckers. Let's talk about some cool agency stuff. Alex is up first. He says, how important is it to have accurate NAP in my website and other places there I build links? Our previous guy did some link building. After that, we changed our location, so now I can't find him to edit them. What's the solution? Alex, my man. For those of you guys who aren't SEOs, NAP stands for name, address, phone number, also known as a citation in the Google world. And it's extremely important if you are trying to rank a Google My Business, what I refer to as a map listing, because I'm an old man and that's what they used to be called back in my day. They were called map listings. 2 tools that will make your life easier. One of those is you can get it on Fiverr. You don't even have to pay for it directly, but it's called White Spark. It'll give you a list of all the citations you have out there in the world, and you can track them down one by one. And if you want to build like 80 to 90% of them on autopilot, you can use a tool called Yext, Y-E-X-T. And it's not perfect, but Yext will take care of a lot of the heavy lifting for you. But if you're trying to rank a Google My Business, it's important. If you're not trying to, then don't lose sleep over it, my man. Hope that's helpful. Jake says, thoughts on pausing a campaign on Facebook? Does this really mess with the optimization? Jake, short answer is yes, it messes with the optimization. But this is a Frankie Finn rant for the H's. I think the way most people do Facebook ads makes so much extra fucking work, more than necessary, because I don't know about you guys, but I went through a phase where everybody told me you got to split test this and split test that, and all I would do is I would have hundreds of campaigns we were managing, and do I test if I level up my ads 10% a day or 20% a day, blue button, green button, this headline, that headline, this image, let's try cats and dogs, and the whole thing was just fucking overwhelming. And I learned from a guy years ago called Brad's Ads. Brad is a dude who basically actually changed how we run ads just from his ads. I never actually gave the guy money. But he talked about, instead of doing all that bullshit, is coming up with one great hook. I'll tell you, 90% of you guys, like if you're running like $1 million or up per year budget for an e-commerce store, you need to be testing every little detail. But for most of you guys that are just trying to get clients or just trying to run a couple simple ads for your clients, one fucking great ad. And Perry Marshall calls this philosophy, and I've talked about this before, forest, trees, leaves, okay? So leaves are like the little things that don't make a big deal of difference. Yellow button, green button. Every little thing you change will make a difference. Red button, orange button, like it'll matter. Trees are like the medium-sized things. If you use this image or that image, it's going to make a difference. But ultimately, the thing that matters most is the forest, the big shit. And so if you're going to test ideas, I test maximum 3, between 1 and 3 really big fucking ideas that I have, and that's it. And I'll tell you, most of you guys will do far better with that Facebook ad strategy. Having said that, there's really only 3 scenarios. If you know, like, for example, if you charge $2,000 a month for your service, then I would say I would be willing to go all the way up to $2,000 to sign one client, meaning I would be happy to break even on month 1. And that means usually you can spend $200-300 on a call to go get people. So there's only 3 scenarios. Either it's working, it's not working at all, or it's kind of working. And kind of working is the trickiest one, and that's when you got to like tweak things, change images, try like a slightly different hook when it's kind of working but not really. But when it's working, just leave it. When it's not working, fucking pause it. And when it's kind of working, tweak. That's how we manage Facebook ads, and it's a lot simpler. Dan, what's up, my dude? So since we're on the subject of citations, what do you think of Citation Vault? To be honest, I actually don't know anything about it, so I can't really give you a comment for better or worse. I wish I had a better answer for you. But the longer we run our agency, the more I'm trying to move away from tools and software, because I don't know, I don't know about you guys, but I've had to learn 10 to 30 new tools a year, every year for 10, 15 straight years. I'm sick of tools. The less I'm relying on them, the better. So I don't know, man. That's probably the worst answer in history, but it's a truthful answer. Dan says, also, any thoughts on CTR manipulation for Google Maps ranking? I see some CTR service out there, wondering if they have an impact or not. I'm sure they do have an impact, Dan, but I'll tell you, this is a thing that I learned after like 7 years of doing SEO, is I did so many things to manipulate those search results, building links and, you know, like as you mentioned, getting people to click on it and stay on the website for 10 minutes so it looks to Google like you really are happy with that pick. At the end of the day, the best thing I think that is in your control is make sure your clients' websites actually fucking deserve to be number 1. And meaning like they have the most helpful information, they're the most complete, they have the best offers. If I say control the controllables, and instead of, because what I don't know if you guys have had this experience, but this is just mine, Dan, is I've had where you get ranking in Google and you do a lot of awesome shit, and then one day they just update it and your fucking rankings go to shit. But I found that a lot of times, if you look at clients that consistently stay like highly ranked over 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, they usually fucking deserve to be number 1. So I'm a bigger believer in doing more to do that. I know that's probably not a perfect answer, but rather than like getting caught up in tools and trying to manipulate it, like to me is like make it actually deserve to be there, and then usually the metrics will actually come along. I don't think enough people focus on actually having the best shit, because you want to be the best in your fucking category. Like, we're not in this, in my opinion anyways, to become number 2. We're here to become number 1 in our own little category of 1. Richard, this was a little private one, but I thought a lot of you guys can benefit from this one. He says, hey, Frankie, quick question. A friend who is business savvy said I should shave off my beard because it makes me look older and less tech savvy. What do you think? This is what I think, okay? If you got a mass market business and you got an image to keep up, like if you're like Flo from Progressive and everybody sees you on the commercials, you can't go out and do stupid shit. You can't be like partying till 4 a.m, getting filmed like with cocaine and hookers and all that kind of stuff. But most of us are not building mass market businesses. We're building lifestyle agencies, which means you're usually going to max out at like 100 clients. 200 if you're fucking crazy and want to like build it really, really crazy big. So that means like you're not trying to be for everybody. So don't fucking try to be for everybody. And the more you embrace you, so I found this thing like I say fuck a lot. And I say shit, I swear. Like I grew up in the ghetto and I swear, I just do, right? And I realized I would get some lawyer clients and then they would find out I'd swear and they'd be like, oh, I would never work with somebody who talks like you. And at first I would get all offended and I would like try not to swear. But eventually it comes out because I just got like a mouth like a trucker. And what I realized is when I would go on stage and I would make presentations, I would purposely say the word fuck. And what I found is a certain number of people who liked it would say, that's hilarious, man. I like somebody who's real like that. And a number of people would push away. Remember, you're not trying to be for everybody. So I say embrace whatever makes you and be unapologetically you. And what you'll find is when you put yourself out there just being you, the right people will resonate with you. I have people who like have hired me because I signed my emails, may the force be with you. I have people who've hired me because I made Zelda references, or they'll like bring me gifts about things that like I have mentioned in my stuff. So the more you can just be unapologetically you and fuck everyone who's not, like you're only after 100 people, they might as well be the right people. I think it's a joy. Cool name, brother. I want to make an agency with you. Will you collab? Probably not. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, brother. I'm just saying I got a full plate. Anybody who can tell you who's got young kids, I got 3 kids. That's like 3 young kids is a full plate in and of itself. I'm not looking for more at this moment, but if you ask me that question in a year or two, I probably will give you a better answer. Nikki 2 Angels. Cocaine and hookers behind closed locked doors, not in the public. Don't be an amateur. This guy gets it. Don't film your shenanigans. Exactly. But seriously, like you guys aren't trying to be for everybody, so don't try. There's statistically 3.1 lawyers just in the United States. I'm only trying to get 100 of them, right? So like, just be who you are and be unapologetically you. Like, it's funny. I didn't plan it this way, but a lot of the lawyers I work with are they're into 1990s wrestling. So we make a lot of old wrestling jokes and gifs and things like that. I didn't plan it that way, but that's just me being me. Is like that's a side effect of it. So who is you being you? Like just be you. This question came up actually because Richard had he's grown out his beard and he kind of looks like, a little grungy, and he's thinking like maybe people won't take me seriously. I say fuck that. Just be you, man. Paul says, has anyone used Leadsie as an onboarding tool for smoothly getting access to a client's biz manager? It looks pretty sweet. The app will also prompt the client to walk them through setting up any missing meta assets like an ad account or pixel. Checked out their YouTube channel if you want to learn more. I'm impressed with his potential on the surface. Paul, we actually tried, so we're running these big retargeting campaigns for lawyers, and I tried running it without Leadsie for a while. And the back and forth between getting Facebook, so they give you their biz manager but not their ad account, or they give you the page but not the biz manager, and like just the back and forth, I have ended up just getting frustrated with it, and we paid Leadsie the $39 or whatever the fuck it is, and made the plunge. And I'll say it's been a wise investment because it not just from the angle of it saves us a bunch of time, but it has a more professional look to the clients, because when they give you their accounts, it's like click, 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 done. And now it's like it's a 2-minute thing to get into the accounts and start working. It also now allows you to make your service work better, because there's usually this anticlimactic thing when they hire you and then you have to get access to ad accounts. And usually if you're dealing with offline businesses, that process can be slow. It might take like sometimes days, weeks. It's very different if they click a couple of buttons and then like same day you got the ads running. Then if they just feel like you're a professional kind of top-notch organization. So I would say if you got clients that you're onboarding and you're using Facebook ads in particular, I couldn't imagine doing it without Leadsie anymore. So that's a thumbs up. I'm not a software guy in general, but man, that one saves me a bunch of fucking time, and I think it'll make your clients' lives easier too. Olatobi, what a cool name, dude. Who pays for ad spend, Facebook ads, Google ads on the first date? 2 parts to this that I wanted to answer. One is if you're going to run ads, they pay for them, and usually it'll be an agreed amount sum. But I'll tell you, this comes up over and over and over, because what happens is businesses inevitably want to make more money, and so they come to people like us to make more money. And there's an assumption, a belief they have that is not true, but they really fucking believe it, which is the idea is to make more money, I need more new people. Can you go to Facebook? Can you go to Google? And the reason they think that is because they don't think they can do anything else, and almost always that's not true. So if you think about like a restaurant, if the restaurant wants to make more money, they always think like, I got to get people to walk in and come try my burgers. But they don't think, hey, somebody's eating here right now. Maybe I could get them to come in twice a week instead of once a week, right? Or maybe I could get them in 3 times this week, or maybe I could upsell them something else like a dessert or something extra and get them to spend more money while they're actually here. So this is my way of saying you almost always don't need ads to get a quick result for people on a first date, because they're sitting on assets. I wrote about this in the book, and you can get it for free on the website at beyondagencyprofits.com. But this is a true story. Like, I ran a little referral campaign for a lawyer, and he made $100,000 in like 4 days or something like that. And how did he make $100,000? Because in 22 years or 21 years or however long he's in business, they had never once messaged any of their people who like had hired them for 2 decades. So they're almost always sitting on assets that they're not using. So you don't actually need to run ads at all with a first date. What I usually do is I save first dates for like a marriage, like an ongoing kind of situation, but you don't usually need it as step 1. Richard, again, my man, is it important to have your face in the circle window when you're doing a Loom video for a prospect? I would say no, my man. Like, we've sold Loom videos, so I've tested, does it help to introduce myself? And so far, like, the results are they don't care who I am or who you are. They just want the results of the video, especially when they don't know you and it's kind of like relatively cold traffic. You don't have to say I'm this person. It actually just takes time away from the video. Especially the reason I started with 5-minute Loom videos, for those of you guys who don't know, is because I wanted to sell my stuff through video to replace my salespeople forever. And at the time, I was using the free version of Loom, and they only let you record 5-minute videos. So as soon as the video went 5 minutes and 1 second, it was too long, and I had to upgrade. And I wasn't sure I wanted to use Loom videos in the beginning. So I was like, dude, you got to nail this in 5 fucking minutes. It was an external constraint. So I found that introducing yourself can take 20, 30 seconds away from just like getting to the damn point. Especially if you're dealing with busy, successful people who have more money than time. Like, they just want you to get to the fucking point. 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes tops. Having said that, if you are using video in your business, I'm a big believer in putting your face in your brand, because I think it'll help people relate to you as a real human being, which is why if you go on my YouTube channel, all the videos have me on them. Like, it's a real face. Like, I'm a bigger company than just me. We're not a huge company, but I got virtual assistants and I have teams and stuff. I don't always put them. Like, it's always like, you know, Frankie Finn out there, like, promoting the biz, right? So I'm a big believer if you're going to use video as an overall strategy, like, people like to buy from humans, which is why, like, insurance companies have Flow or the Gecko and things like that, because you want a face that you're buying from, not just like a big nameless kind of corporation. So having said that, I think it can work overall. But having said that, like, your individual Loom video doesn't need to have it. Anonymous. Man, I love you guys when you're all anonymous asking sketchy ass questions. This one says, hey everyone, I'm new to the agency model. I'm considering starting. However, I have some questions. If anyone can comment on these, I'd be very grateful. 1, how is it difficult to get leads for a business? I mean, if you run a Facebook ad, how many leads can you generate in 7 days? 2, when you create an offer, do you ask or discuss with the business owner for approval? 3, is anyone starting with an agency? I'm looking for someone for accountability and motivation. Firstly, good for you for getting started. Those are always the hardest steps, by the way. I always say it's harder to go to 0 to 1 in your agency than it is to go to like 2 to 10. And it's harder to go from 2 to 10 than it is to go from like 11 to 100. So in many ways, like, scaling an agency, even though it's stressful, is way fucking easier than going from 0 to 1 and just getting it off the ground. Having said that, I don't think this business model is for everyone. Like, there's an appeal. The appeal is usually you can get started for free working on your laptop at home, and you have very, very little costs. And overnight, businesses can be paying you thousands of dollars a month. Like, for real, you can have like 2-3 clients and do like $100,000 a year. It doesn't take much to move the needle. So that's my way of saying, you said, I'm considering starting. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're not, but don't be on the fence and waffle about it, because it's still a business. Business is fucking hard. I know people will tell you it's easy. What's up, Hetty? By the way, I'm going to get back to you on your stuff later today. I've just been away for the weekend. But don't consider starting either. As Yoda would say, man, do or do not. There is no try. So you're either going to do the agency or you're not. But don't play the game of, I'm thinking of starting. You'll just make your life easier if you commit. Or even if you don't commit and decide like another business model is better for you. How difficult is it to get leads for a business? Question number one. It's not at all. Here's how you get leads. You take credit card. You go to the traffic store. Facebook. Google. TikTok. YouTube, Instagram, etc. You go to these places and you put in your credit card and you run some ads and you'll have fucking leads. Leads are not hard to get. The real art is in understanding which leads make good leads and also how to convert them. If you understand those deeper principles, if you understand how to convert leads, you'll be so much better. Like so many businesses have agencies who generate leads who have no idea what to fucking do once they get the leads. They don't know how to answer the phone. And it's basic shit. It's common sense shit. Answer the phone quickly. Be able to answer questions. Offer them the chance to fucking buy. But you would be amazed at how many businesses really miss the obvious. So if you nail those things, you can generate leads. It's not super hard. And you can always, by the way, lean on like a white label agency. There's a few good ones in the group where somebody else can be actually doing the delivery for you, and you just go and sign the clients. 2, when you create your offer, do you ask or discuss with the business owners for approval? I don't think, if you're in business and you're an entrepreneur, you're not asking for anybody's approval. The whole point of being in business is to be a free man or woman. Having said that, I believe it's very, very important to listen to your audience and understand where they're stuck, what challenges they have, and how to overcome those things. So I usually obviously take them into consideration when I'm creating offers to help them, but I don't go to them and say like, hey, dear Mr. Business Owner, can I please do this thing, right? Like we just do it, man. Just come up with it. Like if you have an idea to help a business, I just say, dude, I got an idea for you. I think it's going to work. We're going to go try it. Like you gotta, I call it the benevolent alpha. You have to politely take charge of the situation and say, here's how we're going to fucking do things. Because clients hired you because they don't know what to do, right? So the whole point of it is like you got to be a little bit of a benevolent alpha and be a little pushy. And that can be a little uncomfortable when you're in the beginning, especially when you don't feel like you know your shit and you don't feel like you're an alpha. But the way to do that ethically is just not overpromise it. Just say like, hey, I have an idea. I'm not really sure it's going to work, but let's just fucking try it. Right? That's how you do it. Even years later, now I've run like gazillions of successful campaigns and many times more failures than that, and I still say, hey, let's just fucking try it and see what happens. Number 3 says, anyone else starting an agency? I'm looking for accountability and motivation. I'm thinking we do have a lot of beginners. It's just the nature of things in the group that there's going to be more beginners and people who are well on the journey. I think accountability groups is a good idea. I may do a little brainstorming with you guys later in the week, figuring out how we can actually start that and get that, because I think a lot of people could just benefit from having like-minded community. I always say to people, and this is like funny, but it's true, is we can't tell our families about the shit we do. Like for years, like 15 years, even 15 years into the business, my mom, who recently passed away a couple of months ago, would say to me, Frankie, like, what do you do for money? Right? I couldn't explain to her. In the beginning, I was like, Mom, like, there's this Google, and you rank websites, and people pay me so they can get a bunch of business. She still never got it a million years later. So having like-minded people who get you, who understand what it is you're doing and are in the trenches with you is super, super valuable. It'll help you get really unstuck as well, because they'll have figured things out that you haven't, and vice versa, and you guys can share and help each other. So I'm definitely all for that. Hetty says, I have a question, Frankie. Is it important to make a testimonial in the offer? Yes and no. Testimonials can help, right? Like testimonials can always benefit you and make your shit convert better. But having said that, you don't need them. Like I actually, we're doing some revenue share deals as I'm in the 4th iteration of my agency, so I'm half in running these campaigns for lawyers and half moving towards retargeting stuff. And in the future, revenue share deals. In the future, we're moving all towards revenue share deals, but I love the lawyers I have, so we're not like just canceling them out or anything like that. And I'll tell you, most times our offers are just like, hey man, I got an idea, let's just fucking try it. You down to try it? That's it. Like that's the whole pitch. And a lot of times we marketers think you have to show up with like, guaranteed to get you 100 fucking leads by Monday. Guaranteed to get you 300,000 a month. Guaranteed to get you 100 booked appointments. And that always comes across as assholey marketer, and it's very hard to fulfill on those promises. But when you just show up and say, dude, I got a cool idea for you, let's fucking run it, there usually people are down. And you'd be amazed, the higher you go up the income ladder, the more people are open to trying shit with strangers. You would be amazed that a stranger shows up and says, hey, I had a cool idea for you. You open to fucking try it? And they'll give you their emails, their logins, their passwords, all their shit. You'd be amazed at actually how easy that process can actually be. We got Zach. He says, honestly, it would be great to team up with someone, huh? Yes, my family doesn't get it. None of our families get it, my dude. It's kind of crazy. 15 years in, I couldn't tell my mom what I did. It was, it was wild. In fact, actually, it was funny because, like 3-4 years ago, I started doing more of or I should say maybe like 5 years ago, I started speaking on stage. And finally, my mom, she was like, Frankie, like there's 1,000 people in the audience looking at you. And I was like, yeah, Mom, those are like some of the lawyers I work with and stuff. And she was like, really? And then she like shared all the videos with all her friends and stuff like that. But that was the first time in 10 years that my business was legitimate, because it was like I was on a stage and people could see me. She could see me visually what was going on, right? But before that, I got all the questions of like, are you sure this is legal? Are you selling the Viagra pills? Because I read online that there's scams on the internet, Frankie? Yes, I do, Mom. I'm not selling Viagra pills, but if you do, make sure to click my affiliate link. So yes, I think community is huge for this. That's part of my motivation, by the way, for starting this group. Matt says, what's your favorite social media posting tool? Buffer, Hootsuite, something else? I hate them all. This is a Frankie Finn kind of rant, but I think most people try and skip to automation before they get shit working, and almost always disaster follows. So I've seen this, like, somebody said to me, I'm creating a VSL for my offer, and I'm creating 50 follow-up, 50 emails to follow up with them, and I'm creating a landing page and a webinar, and I'll got to do all this ClickFunnels optimization. And I said, have you tested the offer in front of real humans? Now, this was a particular offer that just from 10, 15 years of doing this, I was 100% sure was not going to work. And it was a she, in this case, she said, no, but I'm going to build all this automation stuff. And, I tried to talk her out of it, but nonetheless, she wanted to build it and do all these things. And I said, well, good luck with that. And lo and behold, like 3-4 months later, none of that shit worked, and it was a bunch of wasted time. So having said that, I don't want you guys to skip to automation. And when social media especially, there is an element that nobody will talk about it. And one of my mentors, Travis, calls it, if you're out with a girl, like we're building relationships here, and everybody's looking for that magic line that's going to work on everyone. If you put your hand on the girl's leg and she goes, ooh, I like that, then, maybe she won't say it with words, but you want to do more of that. If you put your hand on her leg and she's like, ooh, like, I don't like that, don't do that again, then you got to back the fuck off. And when people skip straight to automation, they ignore the people on the other side, and they're trying to just remove themselves from the people. What I try and do is lean in, and then once you have, like if you make 300 posts in a year, you'll have 10, 20, 30 good ones, and then you automate those 10, 20, 30 good ones. But I think if you go straight to that, you're going to fuck it up. If you try and just like, let's just automate it, because you will be continually putting your hand on the girl's leg, and she will go, ugh, I don't like that. And you'll still keep fucking doing it because you're automatically doing it. And so it is important to be able to gauge reactions from people. By the way, simple little example of this. My VA who's in this group, Karen, I don't know if you're watching, Karen, but what's up? I appreciate you. Karen goes into our Facebook group, and she looks for posts that are the most popular, and she copies and pastes those and put those into the email. So she's taking our best stuff and then automating it. I want you guys to understand that. Stuff that is proven to work and then automating. It is first proven to work and then she's automating. So if you jump straight to the tools, you'll fuck yourself over and your shit won't work. But you'll be able to show activity. Like, hey, we got 300 fucking posts this month. Well, good for you. Whoop-de-fucking-do. So I'm not a fan of any of the tools because they take away that actually being able to see how you're doing with real people. So I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for, but we use VAs. Having said that, if you got some shit that's working, like any of the tools can be useful. Josh says, what are you doing in your agency that says embodies the saying work smarter, not harder? For those of you guys who like don't know this already, okay, So when I first started my first agency, we got to like 100 plus clients relatively quickly, way faster than I knew what to do with it. It was a little bit like dumb shit luck, to be honest with you guys, but like I was working way too fucking hard in that agency and answering phone calls all day long, and my VAs weren't that good. It was just the whole thing was a fucking mess, and I was stressed out every moment of it. And that's probably not how you want to build your agency. And that it was the epitome of work hard, not smart. What I started to realize in there is that I was chasing money and not being conscious of the time and energy that it took to earn that money. Because in the beginning, I was just fucking broke. And I just wanted to make some money and have a successful business. And so I was like, if I make money, it's all good. It doesn't matter how I make it. I was indiscriminate. And as a result, I gave up and sacrificed all my time and energy. I was a prostitute of time and energy. What happened as I got wiser and smarter over the years is I realized that the more you optimize your business for energy, meaning you want to like the least amount of energy for the maximum amount of both client output and value, as well as like money earned for that, the better overall business you're going to build. So this is really the genesis and the deeper idea behind Loom videos. Because I tried, like, for a long time, I spent a lot of time and energy on fucking sales calls, and it was very hard to replace me because eventually after doing like 1,000 of them, I got good at it. Go figure, right? But the problem is that I would bring in salespeople and they would be worse. And even when I found good salespeople, like either they would have off days like, oh, I got sick today, or my girlfriend dumped me, or whatever, or they would move on to their own thing, because some of these guys were like entrepreneurs, and they would say, hey, like, I loved working for you, but 6 months later, here's my pink slip, I'm going to go move on and try my own thing, and I would lose my best salespeople, and it drove me fucking crazy. And then I thought about, how could I optimize my energy? And it clicked, like, hey, you're answering the same fucking questions again and again and again and again and again in all these sales calls. Why not try it with video? And at the beginning, I was convinced it could not be done, but I decided to ignore that video and try it. And we eventually started closing clients through video. And the whole idea, the deeper idea behind it, is optimizing for energy. Is I want my videos to work hard. I don't want me to work hard. I want my videos to work hard. And I want you guys to think about that for you, is where can you clone yourself? Where can you like put in a little bit of energy and get a lot of output in terms of value for a client and return on money for yourself, but little input. That is the idea, the epitome of work smarter, not harder. Well, another one of those ideas that was a big idea in that journey for me was realizing that I could do something once and be paid for it twice. In fact, I have a mentor who said this in the simplest way possible. His name is Ken. He said, I like to do things that I can do once and get paid for again and again. It was such a simple revelation. So he says, if I make a service, I want to set it up so I can do it once and it can be delivered again and again, but I don't have to do it every single time. And I was like, that is such a simple but powerful idea. When he first said that, I didn't really know how to implement that idea. I just knew that that was a life-changing concept. Was like, that's the epitome. And he also said, I like to do things once that like have installment payments and recurring. And he had things in his business that he had done once 7-10 years ago that were still paying him today. And I was like, that was just fucking mind-blowing to me, because I was working way too hard, and all my income earned was very active, meaning like I had to always invest high amounts of energy to earn it. And I want you guys overall to stop becoming prostitutes of your energy and time and have these high-value outputs for relatively low investments of energy. You do that, you're gonna be a better human being overall, because you're gonna dig your business more, and you'll actually create more value for the other people, because the more you remove yourself, you can then suddenly impact more people because you have leverage. Most agencies are missing leverage, and they work way too fucking hard because of it. Mia says, just wondering, what offers have you found most successful for lead generation for your own agency via social media? Again, I got to thank my man Travis for these. There are 3 offers that your clients and you need to nail if they want to be like ultra successful long-term in business. And Travis likes to call these first date, coffee date, and marriage. So if you think about a relationship, this is how relationships work in the real world. And business above all is relationships. Like people think like, I'm going to find the magic outreach script, or I'm going to get this perfect elusive media buyer. And you're wrong if you think those things, because it's not those magic things. It's relationship. And the first thing is, like, if you meet like a girl, or if you're a girl and you meet a guy, like, going straight to marriage is usually a bad idea. I'm not saying it can't be done, but even when it works out, you're going to get into shitty marriages. So the best thing you can do is say, like, let's have a coffee date. Let's have a small get together just to see if we jive together. And then if you like that, you may transition into an actual formal first date. And if that goes well, you may jive into a marriage offer. Now, we're in the business of like selling and marketing. So for that reason, we want our offers to be very, very sexy. And so instead of just like, let's go on a coffee date, we want like a, hey, why don't we go to this beautiful place I know on the water? They have live music. They have the best espresso you've ever tasted. They got this beautiful little coffee keg. All of it's for under $10, and it's quiet. And like I said, it's on the water, and you're going to see the sunshine. Do you want to go with me for 15 minutes and see if we enjoy hanging out with each other? We want to make really sexy offers, right? But having said that, if you're trying to get leads on social media, the answer to that question, the reason I went on this little rant, is coffee date. Coffee date is the answer to that. Which is, and coffee date in a nutshell is, what can I do in 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes max to move the needle? I actually saw a post by our man Mawaz in our group here, and he was talking about that, hey, I want to create a lead generation thing that's actually valuable. And lo and behold, the number one way you can show your clients that you can actually help them is by actually fucking helping them. So what I like to do, this has been my mantra for years, is Nicholas Kusmich, who's a brilliant Facebook ads guy, calls this, when they create lead magnets, he calls it SAGE, which stands for short, actionable, goal-oriented, and educational. And what I've found that works best is we all have some like 300-page fucking PDF ebook that we've been meaning to read on our hard drive that we just never fucking got to, even though it was like, I wanted to read that thing, you just never got to it, is one page. Give them a small but meaningful result in one fucking page. That's your lead magnet. Think about the most valuable, small but meaningful result you can create for your ideal client in 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes max. Put it on a one-page PDF, and that's your lead magnet, and I guarantee you it'll convert if it actually is genuinely useful and valuable to those people. Too many people are looking for what's the perfect headline, what's the perfect script. But if you actually think about just being fucking useful to these people and bring them into there, what will happen is inevitably the value will speak for itself, and you'll write better headlines and shit like that. So for example, like one we ran for years is, I noticed 80% of lawyers would get all their business from referrals. And then I would say, what are you doing to make those referrals happen? And their answer was, nothing. And I was always blown away. Like, you mean to tell me like most of your business ever that you've ever got came from referrals and you do nothing? And they would say, that's right. And I go, what do you think would happen if you did something, anything, right? And they would go, it probably could expand what was working. And so we created a one-page PDF, and it was 26 different things you could do to generate referrals. And they were just little things, like you send mail to clients, put a little sticker on the outside that says, we love referrals. Let them know you fucking want referrals, like shit like that. But all of it could be done in 15 minutes, right? You can consume that. So if you're struggling to come up with leads on social media for your own agency, just come up with something fucking useful that an ideal client can do in 10 or 15 minutes and give it away, and that's your coffee date, and that will draw people into your world. And then the very next move after the coffee date is invite them to a first date, and you'll have actual paying clients from those two things if you nail those two offers. And then of course, if you want to keep them for a real long time, nail the marriage offer as well. Benjamin says, how do you know when it's time to fire a contentious, extremely high maintenance client? I've been there, Benjamin. I'm sure a few of us have been there. Okay, firstly, if you're asking the question, Benjamin, the answer is now, right now. Like, don't wait, fucking fire them. Here's the deal. Like, we get to, more than we own this fact, like the more I've owned this fact, the easier my agency has gotten, is we choose our clients. Not the other way around. Let me say that again. We choose our clients, not the other way around. Again, like most people who are building a lifestyle agency, you're not going to be more than probably 100 clients. Maybe 200 if you're insane and want to build like a fucking, $10 million per year agency, okay? So You're for maximum like 100 fucking people in the world. So why put up with bullshit? Like when I think about there's 3.1 million fucking lawyers in the United States and I'm trying to get 100. Why would I put up with bullshit when there's literally fucking 3 million other dudes and dudettes who would be cooler than the person I have? Having said that, there are usually some warning signs. The hardest one to put your finger on is when clients are condescending. Like that you can tell they just think you're fucking stupid or incompetent or whatever, and it comes across in tone. I remember I used to have this guy who would just write everything in capitals, right? Like, and everything would end with exclamation marks. You could tell he was just angry at his keyboard and everything was my fault, right? Another thing is unrealistic expectations. And by the way, we have a big control over how realistic their expectations are. If you don't do any expectation setting in the beginning, they're going to have crazy wild expectations. But having said that, anybody who's done SEO can tell you this is a fact of life, is you tell the client it's going to take 6 months, 12 months, whatever to rank, 8 months, and then they say 3 seconds after you hired them, they say, I Googled myself, I'm not number one. When are you going to get me number one? And you say, remember when we talked about that 10-month journey and it's a marathon, it's not a sprint and all those things? And they'll say, yeah, but I want to be number one. Make me fucking one. Just make it. I don't want to hear excuses. Just make me number one, right? You are never going to please that client, ever. Ever, 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 ever in a million years if they think like, I need to be number one by the end of the week and anything you do less than that is a failure. So if clients show up to you with like unrealistic pie in the sky, never having done this, I've seen this like people who run Facebook ads. I spent $80 on Facebook ads. Why am I not a millionaire yet? Because you spent $80 fucking dollars, right? So having said that, like if people are giving you unrealistic expectations, that's a big warning sign. Trying to think of what are the cheapest ones, by the way, not as a 100% rule, but as like a 95% rule, are the highest maintenance clients when they want lots of meetings and phone calls and approval. And I need to talk to you, like when it's their last $500 and they're desperate, you can feel that desperate energy and it'll show up and like, need lots of updates. What's going on, man? We spent $5. How many leads did we get? The busy, successful clients that already run like established businesses, I barely fucking hear from. I've actually got a lawyer I've been trying to like update, like so Google Ads made us update like their accounts and he's the one guy who hasn't. And for like 2 months, I've been trying to get him like, just send me a photo of your driver's license so I can verify the account so it'll fucking work again. And he's too busy. He's like, hey, I promise I'll get it to you next week. But I have this big case and blah, blah, blah. Those are actually the clients you want. The clients who are almost too busy doing their own thing and they don't need it to work. They want it to work and it's preferable for it to work, but they don't need it. So like if I could describe that shitty client thing in one word, it would be a word: desperation. Stay away from desperate clients as a general rule. It'll make your life fucking miserable if they need it to work yesterday. We want businesses that are not fighting fires. As a general rule, if you have clients that are like crazy and desperate, you're going to be fighting fires all the time in your business because they'll want meetings, they'll want updates, they'll need to talk about this. Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? Blah, blah, blah. And as where the opposite of that is a client who like leaves you alone and wants a 5-10 minute talk every 3 months. Those kind of clients in my experience are way easier to build a business around and they pay more and they're usually happier with the results. They go, hey, thank you. You know, I've had clients like, for example, I remember one client, it was a consulting thing, but I think I charged him 40 grand and I coached his people to close on the phone. And what ended up happening is at the end of the year, he was like, how's it going? And I told him like, these are the changes we made. And he said, great. And referred me someone else. We only talked like 10 minutes in a fucking year for $40,000, right? Like those, when you think about it, like that's what you want. It's not the 10 minutes for $40,000 that should appeal to you. It's the easygoing, laid back, I got my own thing going on. I don't need your stuff to work. I'm just going to, it's a trust factor is what we're really looking for. The opposite of desperation is trust. And I would say easygoing, those two things. So I'm testing clients for how trusting they are and how easygoing they are and how they just let me do my own thing as the expert and the professional. A lot of this, by the way, a lot of these problems, most people do not realize are created by how you actually pursue the clients in the first place and what sort of promises you make to get them in the door. So I had a guy message me the other day. He said, I'm sure you guys are getting this. I can get you gazillion, bazillion fucking booked appointments. Get you booked appointments, man. Never mind that if you clicked on my profile, I'm the guy who teaches people how to close without booked appointments. But whatever. I can get you bazillion fucking booked appointments. And his promise was we can add an extra $300,000 to $500,000 per month with our booked appointment service. Okay? That is a huge, huge, huge exaggerated promise. And I was thinking about that from an expectation point. Even when he gets clients, what are the odds that he can actually fulfill on that promise and keep clients actually happy? And in my experience, the answer is very, 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 very fucking low, if not zero. Probably zero, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And so what ends up happening is I was thinking about, like, what if I did hire him and he made me $100,000 per month? Does that mean he's a failure for making me $1.2 million? Right? So what happens is a lot of times we don't realize that a lot of the marketers show up with these big, assholey, exaggerated, I'm going to get you millions, bazillions, more clients, more leads, more. And what we want to focus on actually is creating small but meaningful promises that not only can sell, but can be delivered upon, right? Like, it's not just making promises that get people to say yes. It's making promises that once they say yes, you can actually fulfill on, right? And usually, by the way, if you're struggling for what is a small but meaningful promise, usually the magic number is 1. Right? And what I mean by that is, what is one of something that you could bring to somebody that would be useful, meaningful, valuable? Right? So, like, for example, on my revenue share deals, I don't show up and say, I'm going to make you $300,000 motherfucking dollars, motherfucker. Right? Even though, actually, on some of these deals, we can make those kind of numbers. But what I do is I'm like, hey, dude, I had an idea, and I think, like, we could probably get 1, maybe even 2, maybe even 3 of these motherfuckers if we try this thing. Would you be open to running a little test, see if it works? And they say, yeah, I'm open to running a little test. But I'm showing up with just saying, like, I can bring you 1 of something. I think. Right? I'm not 100% sure, but let's try it. And so the smallest, most meaningful promise that can actually be delivered on is usually a variation of 1. If you're showing up with 1, thank you, Mama. I can't really look, but she just brought me a green juice. So if you want to create promises that actually get fulfilled on, like, 1, and where most of these people are showing up is way over the fucking top. And usually if your promise is a form of what I call more, undefined more, you're not going to keep people happy after the fact. I can get you more leads, more clients, more. And I ask, what does it look like when it's finished? What is the small, meaningful result that we're after? And if you can articulate that, you'll have much better experience not only selling clients, but through the journey of keeping them and actually getting them happy. So I didn't want to rob you guys of that piece because it's an important part. Troopers, by the way, those of you guys who stuck with me, I think Cole's out there, man. I know what that's like, dude. You got the parenting stuff to deal with. Looks like that's all the questions we got this week, unless one of you guys want to add anything. Just for a little announcement for those of you guys who missed the beginning. 2 things that I mentioned. Thing number 1 is, this is not official. I haven't even talked to my woman about it yet, so hopefully she doesn't see this replay and freak out. But I'm thinking of putting together a small, little, intimate event at my house. It'll be affordable, under $500, and I want to work on whatever your single biggest challenge is. If that would be interesting to you guys, if you guys would want to come to Paradise in Mexico, hang out at my big old house.
Of course.
Oh. She says, of course. Haven't even figured out the details or anything like that, but I'm just thinking about, like, it would be cool to hang out with some of you guys in person. You could use it as an excuse to take you or the family on vacation, or the wife, husband, whoever you got, and come somewhere cool and work on something. Like, I haven't figured out the details, but we'll plan it and all that kind of stuff. Second thing is, as I mentioned last week, we've opened up for the year 10 new spots for the mastermind. I think 4 or 5 of them are gone. I wish I could work with hundreds of you guys, because, like, I fucking love you guys, and you're just awesome, you guys and gals. Having said that, like, it's an energy thing. It's like, I got 3 kids, I got an agency, I got a real estate business we're doing. Like, they're just limited bandwidth. But if you guys are interested in checking that out, I put it up on beyondagencyprofits.com/wolfpack, or you can just message me. We got a little 20-minute video that says what's in the Wolfpack, what you get, what you don't. I also been clearer this time around on the updated video on what you don't get, because I don't want you guys coming in the door expecting something that we don't do. So I want to just be clear on what's not included and all that stuff. So there's an updated video as well. If you guys are interested in checking that out, let me know. Joseph says, where in Mexico? We live in La Paz, which is about 2 hours from Cabo. Most of you guys would have to fly to Cabo and then take a little 2-hour shuttle bus over here to La Paz, and then I'll pick you guys up. But it's fucking beautiful here. It really, really is. There's a reason here. Somebody asked me what's my favorite place in the world, and of all my travels, I couldn't say this place is number one, but I have a top 5. And where I live right now is in that top 5. It's just, it's amazing. Other than the August and September when it's hot as balls and you can barely fucking exist. But the rest of the year, it's just beautiful. It's sunny. There's amazing beaches. There's great food. It's a nice pace of life. It's stunning. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, I'll give you some of the travel details and all that. But let me know if you guys would even be interested in that. No point in creating it if nobody would want it. But having said that, I think it'd be really fun to have a get together and work on some cool stuff and build some badass agencies. We can do whatever you guys want there. We can launch ads. We can get clients. We can work on scripts. We can work on messaging. We can work on delivery. We can work on hiring people. We can work on what you say to clients, how you onboard them. We can work on the wow factor in your experience. We can work on scaling it. We can do all kinds of cool stuff. So interested to hear your feedback on that, if that would be interesting to you guys. If not, don't lose any sleep. I'll just cry myself to sleep at night knowing none of you guys want to come hang out with me. So that's all I got for you guys this week. 51 minutes is enough. I'm going to go drink a green juice, hang with the kids, and much love. And may the force be with you.